is done. Cool, 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 cool. Just waiting on Facebook to keep up with us, that's all.
Yes, yeah, it happens.
All right. All right, we are rocking and rolling. So I'll go ahead and share this into the group. Shared. Just confirm real quick. Yes, awesome. So, good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared from the Digital Battlefield podcast. And today we're talking with Tommy Walker, who's got a 20-year career in entrepreneurial mindset, which is an exciting topic to say the least, because as I'm sure Tommy will let us know, having the right mindset for your business is one of the founding starting points before you really get anywhere beyond that. So, Tommy, why don't you take it away and let us know who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you very much, Jeff, for the invitation. Of course, I'm here to help you guys in whatever stage you're in your business understand what's going on. You know, Jared, like a lot of people out there are talking about mindset. And although there's a lot of information out there about mindset, people still getting stuck. People don't implement, people don't get things going. And as we were talking last time, you can go online and find a video and whatever you want, mindset, marketing, sales, whatever, but people are still stuck, you know? And the other day I was posting on some groups, and I know the numbers are bigger, but I went a bit broader because, you know, people start throwing stones at you. Right. I was saying that around 60 to 80%, but they say they're higher the numbers, people in coaching groups. So they have somebody that's coaching them and everything. And in coaching groups, there's a 60 to 80%, a little bit higher, of people that don't make it to the coaching program. They just disappear. So I was talking to some people and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to deal with that, you know, talk about that. And that's what we spoke a little bit, Jared, last time. What are the three main blocks that are, in a way, getting in the way of your business? And that's a little bit what I want to bring on here, sharing with you guys. So to tell you about me, I started my entrepreneur journey, I started with saying 21 years ago. It was ups and downs. It was a roller coaster, of course, but it was in 2009, that I decided that I couldn't do it on my own. And I went out there and started looking, and I found a coach mentor to start helping me. She didn't know about marketing. She didn't know about sales. She didn't know anything about that. She knew about mindset. So when I aligned my mindset and I understood that I had lots of mental blocks that were holding me back, and I was able to open up and recognize them, because a lot of people I talk to, like, no, I don't, I'm okay. My business is okay. You know, I'm making money, whatever. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. They just we're holding ourselves back, and we don't even realize. We can blame I can blame you, Jared, or whatever. I can blame somebody else, but it's always me that I'm holding myself back. So that's what I want to go on a little bit today, correct?
Definitely. And, you know, that's the thing is when we don't have the proper mindset, like you said, we hold ourselves back. You know, we get content and complacent. And that's a bad thing in business. I was actually talking to a guy earlier today. He's in the construction industry, and he said the reason people fail in my industry is because they'll fill up their pipeline for 2 or 3 months or for 6 months, and then they'll take a break for 3 months and just focus on the actual construction work. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. You have to keep your mind moving forward, keep pressing to keep filling up your pipeline, because that's how you get left in the dust.
Exactly. That's correct. So from going through struggling in 2009 till 2009 for 6 very difficult years, when I met her and started working, I took a while, you know, Jared, there's no magic pill, and people need to understand that, Jared. Can you make 50K out of in a month? Can you make 100K in 90 days, you know, 150K in 90 days? That's a lot of crap they're selling out there. And there's people that make it, don't get me wrong. There's people that make it, but most of the people that make it are people that already have systems in place, they have teams in place, they have people working there, so they scale faster. But if you're new here and you're expecting to make 50, 100K, it's pretty sure that's not going to be the example. It might happen, don't get me wrong, people do it, but
Right.
out of how many that don't do it, Jared?
Very
Correct?
small percentage. Very small.
Exactly. But if I'm a marketing coach or I'm out there and I want to sell my program, I'm going to tell like, oh yes, look at Tommy. He did 100K in 90 days with my program. Come join us and do the same thing he did. But I'm not talking about the other 90 or 100 people, 99 people that didn't make it, you know? So everybody just
Right.
listens to me saying that everybody's making 100K in 90 days or 150K. So what happens is people go out there into the world, starting their own business, and they don't start hitting those numbers in the first month, 2 months, maybe even a year. And they feel so frustrated, they feel a failure, and they just quit. Isn't that right?
It happens all the time. And what you're talking about is one of the many 80-20 rules where 80% of the population ignores you and only 20% pays attention. So that one guy is from 20%, and he actually also had the right mindset and actually put in the work. There's the difference.
Exactly.
Put in the work.
You just said it. People don't want to put the work in because they're afraid they might fail. So if I put the work in and I fail, and this is how the mind works. And let me go a little bit deeper. So we got the conscious mind, Jared. We got the conscious mind that different people talk about 5-10% of our life is run by our conscious mind. I go into a restaurant, I look at the menu, I say, oh, I want to eat crap, I want to eat that. That's the conscious mind, you know? You're thinking of what you're going to do right now. The subconscious mind is when you're walking. You're not thinking about walking. When you're jogging, when you're typing, you just type. You're just thinking what you want to type. You're not like, oh, I got to move my finger towards the Y. I want to move my finger towards the H. I got to go in backspace. No, it just happens. That's the subconscious mind that runs 90 to 95% of our life. So a lot of people I work with, they at the first call that we have, and I also do, you know, some prospecting to see if they're a good fit for me, because I don't want to just bring somebody in and see that take their money away. It's not about it. It's helping people. And they're like, oh, what do you think about money? Oh, I love money. I want money. Money is perfect. Money is good. So I tell them, okay, that's what you think consciously. So understand that if you're stuck moving from 5 figures to 6 figures, from 6 figures to 7 figures, wherever you're stuck, it might be around money. You got to understand that there might be some false beliefs in the subconscious mind that you're not even aware.
See, that dives deeper whenever you're looking at people who are at the lower end of the revenue spectrum, and people are in that they're in that spot where they just have to make more money or they can't pay their bills this month. That level of what's the word I'm looking for? That like disaster mentality, like, oh my God, I have to make this money. Everything that you're talking about now becomes so much more magnified as a problem because of that. Because they're chasing that dollar because it's a necessity of life and they have to have it.
And some of them will implement when they're in survival mode because they know they're going to, you know, get kicked out of the house, they're going to whatever, lose something. So they might go ahead and do something about it. Or they're going to have the other guys that it happens a lot too, that they just go into 9 to 5 because this journey, entrepreneurial journey, is a difficult one, you know, and you don't have the guarantee, quote unquote, because now COVID showed that 9 to 5, there's no guarantee either. There's a little bit more guarantee, but not the guarantee that everybody thought like, oh, if I'm in a company, I'm going to make this my career. How many people lost their jobs? So what I tell people, Jared, that freedom or money freedom, work freedom, whatever, comes from inside. Financial freedom, that crap that everybody's selling out there, you know, work with me and gain financial freedom. It's BS. I've worked with people that have tons of money and they have no financial freedom.
Right, because the more you make, the more you spend.
Exactly. And it's a mind thing. It has nothing to do with the amount of money you earn. There are people that are earning very little money. They're paying their rent, they're paying their bills, and they have freedom inside. It's not money freedom. It's just the freedom feeling they are okay where they're at, but not just, you know, in their comfort zone. They're okay, seriously. They're happy. They feel fulfilled. That is freedom from within. And now we go out to the other spectrum. A lot of people that have tons of money and they're not free. So it's not about money. Money is just the excuse.
Well, that's a big one there. hit the nail on
It
the head with
is.
that one. It
It
sounds like
is.
what you're talking about is part mindset, part inner peace.
It is. I combine both. I'm on a spiritual path, and I'm
Okay.
combining both things, the mind and the spirit part. And I know people that don't believe in that, that's fine. That's why I talk a lot about mindset, but I also talk with people that are more open towards the spiritual path,
Right.
because that's the idea. What I believe, and you, Jerry, you might not believe, and that's fine. I respect that, is that we're here for something, not just to make money. You know, I have the big house and the big car and petty money or whatever in my bank account to feel secure. Because
Right.
how many people have all of that and they're depressed? Even people that they're suicidal and they got everything. I
Yep.
work with people that tell me, I have everything, and I'm still not happy. I'm not still fulfilled. And I tell them it has nothing to do with external things.
It's all internal.
Everything has to do with internal. So you got to
Yes.
feel free inside. You need to feel
Definitely.
happy inside. Then the rest is just whatever happens on the outside. Because again, how many times people set their goals, they don't hit them, and they are really hard on themselves because they didn't hit their goals. Mindset. Why? Because you're looking to set and to hit a goal out of, if I hit this goal, Jared, I'm going to feel good enough. If I hit a million K, if I have a million K, so if I hit a 10K,
That's a big
20K,
number.
30K, keep going up. No, but I go into 50K, then I go into 100K, then I go to a million, and I keep going up. And it's like, where's your goal? You got to your goal, but you weren't feeling good enough. So you go to your next goal, and you get to your next goal, to your next goal. Don't get me
Right.
wrong, because people are going to say like, oh, but then you shouldn't have goals. I'm not saying that. But if you're seeking your goals to feel good enough, to feel recognized, to feel accepted, that's the wrong way to go, because you're never going to feel fulfilled. You're going to keep running after the carrot that's hanging in front of you, and you're not going to ever reach it. Making 10K a month or making a million a month, it doesn't matter. It's something from within, not without. And that's what a lot of people struggle with.
Definitely. You see it all over the entertainment industry, where all of these billionaires are just, committing suicide left and right. It's like, what is going on? You have everything you could ever want or need. Why is there a problem, right? And a lot of us people who don't live in that environment really see that, and it's like, what's wrong with them? And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's this mindset stuff. I actually have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, do you think that it's possible that people who start in I guess down towards the poverty line, people who start there equate their happiness with a dollar value because they think if I get to that level, that should be enough to provide all of the happiness I need?
Yeah, but that happens to everyone, not even the poor people. That happens to everyone in different levels. For a person that, to give an example, okay, maybe that their parents made 10K a month, that for that person making 20 or 30K a month is going to be happiness. For a person that their parents made $50 a month in another country, maybe, or whatever,
Right.
he's going to think that when he hits 1,000K, he's going to feel good enough. He's going to feel happy. So everybody sets their goals many times around what is it going to make me feel. And how many times that has happened to you and the people that are listening, Jared, that you hit that goal and then you're like, is this it?
Right.
Is this it?
And that's
I don't feel better.
That's because
I want
people
more.
tie their emotions to something that's tangible.
Exactly.
Because
And people many times they hit it and they still feel empty inside.
right, because what we're talking about is something that's intangible. How
Exactly.
you think about things, the way you process information, how you feel about things has nothing to do with the tangible metric like a dollar value.
Exactly. But the problem is, again, that most of these things are hidden in the subconscious mind and people that are not even aware of. Like the other day, I was working with a woman that with COVID, she lost her job. She's living in a room that she rented with a bunch of people also in different rooms. And she's telling me that she doesn't go out, she feels depressed, that she needs a job to feel, look at what she told me. I need a job to feel free. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If you're in a 9-to-5 job, 9 to 5, you're working for somebody else. You got your time that you got to go out have lunch, come back, and you receive orders from somebody. That's not freedom. It was different, okay, the talk, I'm making it shorter, but for you to understand, she assigned that freedom came from getting a job in a company. And look at this. We started going deeper and she started explaining to me how she lived. She was exactly living like a person in a prison. She was hiding in her room, not going out nearly at all, just to grab some food and then come back to her room and just kind of feel sad and depressed in her room. And she even then said the word, like, I feel like in a prison. And I told her, you feel in a prison because you feel that the only freedom could come out of having a job 9 to 5.
Definitely.
So that's why you feel you're a prisoner in this apartment that you're in this bedroom you're living in. And that's how the mind works. We have false, limiting, and negative beliefs that are going to create the world that we have around us. People want to change the world, but they don't realize that you cannot change a movie if you're just screaming at the actors in the cinema. Imagine myself screaming in the cinema, hey guys, don't say that. Change the script, you know? Nothing's going to happen.
People do that all the time, though.
Yes, exactly. But you need to understand that you need to go back to the projector and change the movie in the projector if you want to see something else on the screen. Your mind, Jared, is a projector. And the narratives you created are the scripts that then you're projected out. So if you believe deep down, without even realizing, that money is bad, you're going to do everything you can to push whatever business away, whatever promotion away, because you don't want to earn more money. Because deep down, you believe that if you have more money, you're going to become a bad person. You're going to whatever, you know? And that happens a lot. And if you look around, the other day, I was shocked. I was watching a movie with my kids. And in the movie, the bad guy was the person that had a lot of money. So we have been programmed since we're kids that people with money, look at the kings and queens, when we were kids watching different movies, that the kings are the bad people that treat bad the peasants, you know? So we get this image that having money is a bad thing.
Having power is a bad thing.
There you go. You know, power corrupts. Money corrupts. Those are false beliefs, Jared, because actually money is a piece of paper. It cannot corrupt anyone. It's like this piece of paper, it's talking to me. It's saying to me that I gotta be mean.
It's the value that you put on it. That's
so
the
who
difference.
Chooses? The bill chooses or you choose?
Well, actually, what we're getting into is the discussion of the establishment or the institutions of the world.
Okay, there you go. But at the end, we choose, Jared. I know it has to do with a lot of programming and other things that the establishment. Yes. But let's go down to us, because I chose.
We allow them. We allow that to hold that value for us.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But we can change that. We are creators in our life. It doesn't mean this guy gonna go live in the mountains, you know, in the middle of nowhere and live out from the fish and the water. I'm not saying that. But you can start you can start disconnecting a little bit from the system, you know, and saying, I'm going to be happy. And you can still have your own business. I have my businesses. I have several businesses going, and I still have my business and everything, but I'm getting back the power in my life, not letting money control my life, not letting power corrupt me, because I decide to corrupt myself with power if I have power. Make sense?
It does. So earlier you said that there's 3 things that...
Yes.
Okay. What's the first one?
So we just said it. The main one that involves the other 2 that we're going to see in this area as an entrepreneur, the first and main one that is blocking most people out there is money, Jared. Money, the concept money, not money itself, the bill. The concept I have around money. And every person is going to have a different concept. If your parents fought over money, you could assign that money separates people. If your dad was, you know, your mom was submissive, your dad was kind of the power and he brought the money and he kind of manipulated mom with the money, you're going to feel that money corrupts. And each one of us, out of what we saw in our life, we created our own narratives, and those narratives are in our subconscious mind. Definitely. So again, in my case, I believe that money corrupts, money is bad, and if I had money, I was going to become a bad person. So each time I had money, I had to spend it. I couldn't have money standing in my bank account or having savings, because if I had money, like if I had things, that wasn't bad. But if I had money, I was a bad person, whether in a bank or whether the bills. And I would spend all my money. I would travel around and spend thousands of dollars in traveling and buying stuff for me and for my family. And I couldn't save. And I didn't understand why. I wanted to save, but I couldn't save. It was when I started working on my belief system around money and other things that I've been working, I found out that I had those beliefs. Now I can save money. It's like, what? It changed it. It changed a lot in my life because I changed my beliefs. I don't feel bad about having money, you know? So it's that belief system.
That's a big leap too, to go from having those type of preconceived notions into being able to make that type of a shift where you can go from spending everything to saving a sizable amount.
That's the idea. Exactly. So look at this. If I'm an entrepreneur, I want to start my own business and I have limiting beliefs around money, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to procrastinate. You're going to overthink everything. You're not going to implement. You're not going to take actions. You're going to get stuck. So most entrepreneurs are stuck, are procrastinating, overthinking, perfectionism, imposter syndrome. All of that are just the surface problems that if you go deeper down, you're going to find that there's something else associated. One of them, we're going to talk about three main ones, is money. If you're procrastinating, I'm pretty sure you're procrastinating, not growing your business, because there might be some false belief around money that you need to figure out and you need to change. If not, you're going to keep struggling with that, correct?
Probably. If you don't fix the problem and you keep focused on the Band-Aid solution, you're going to still have that problem.
Exactly. And a lot of people out there that are working on mindset are working on procrastination, treating procrastination. It's like, you cannot treat procrastination. Come on, guys.
No.
Procrastination is the end result.
No, that's just a symptom of the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I teach, look at this. So you can ask me, okay, tell me, how can you start identifying this? Procrastination is the end result. The end result comes from a negative emotion. And a negative emotion, Jared, comes from a negative belief. And that's the key. So what does this mean, Jared? That you got to go through your emotions. Negative emotions have been suppressed for years for most humanity. If I'm sad, it's like, no, Tommy, don't come with me. If you're sad, don't come close to me. You know, it's contagious. You know, it's bad. If you're sad, it's fine. You're bringing up something that you need to deal with. If you keep pushing it away, you're never going to go to the false belief. If you don't find the false belief, you cannot reprogram. If you cannot reprogram, procrastination is going to be your main friend. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, it sounds like what you're talking about is the difference between having one of those fancy walk over the fire pit type of things that most people do versus what you're doing is forcing people to actually face the reality within themselves.
Exactly.
It's the whole look in the mirror concept.
Yes, exactly. That's what I do. You look in the mirror, and every time, if you do something that bothers me, Jared, look at this. If you do something that bothers me, I can point out at you and say, hey, Jared, you made me angry. You made me this. Mm-hmm. But how many fingers are pointing back at me?
3 more. So
every time I say, Jared, you're making me angry, what I'm saying is I am making myself angry with something you're doing.
Right. It's not me. You just don't know how to figure out what the problem is on why you're angry. Exactly. And so you think that it's my fault.
Exactly. You blame somebody else.
I bet if the female race of the female species heard some of this, we might have happier homes.
we men too, okay? We blame each other.
Oh, of course.
Men blame women blame men, okay?
Of course.
Just to set the record straight. Everybody blames each other because they don't want to face the problem inside.
It happens all the time.
Exactly. So money is the main one that stops every entrepreneur down the road. It could be, and people say like, okay, Tommy, but I made 6 figures a month right now. Why am I stuck again? Because as you raise the stakes, you got more money, it might trigger things, that were a little bit dormant in your past and now are coming up. Now there's more in stake. You might lose more money. So you get more scared. Yeah. And that triggers you to get stuck. So it can happen anywhere along the line. But people say like, oh, but if I made money, it's fine. I don't have any limiting belief. No, because maybe you haven't yet got stuck, or you're stuck and you're not realizing,
Right.
And you're not wanting to accept it. So money is the first one. Let's go to the second one, marketing. Okay. So you're the expert right here. What is marketing in an easy language? What is marketing, Jared?
It is the process of connecting your brand to a customer.
Okay, there you go. So what is your brand? Easy stuff. Okay, now don't get too
Right.
Easy thing.
So,
What will be the brand?
So that would be, well, I mean, anything that revolves around the perception of your company could be your brand.
There you go. So your company, we're talking about what I created, correct?
Right. So that would be your business. There's also elements like your logo, your packaging for your product, and different things like that. But in the business side itself, normally the logo is tied to the image, and your messaging ties to how you speak to people, and your customer service talks about how you deal with problems. So a lot of different areas like that.
There you go. So let's go back to the mind then. I love that. Marketing is showing what you do. And in a way, entrepreneurs identify themselves so much with their business that it's me that I'm showing off out there. And if people start complaining, people start judging me, people start criticizing me, I don't want that. You know, I want people to like me. I want people to like my product. So I'm afraid if I go out into the world that people are going to judge me and going to criticize me. So what do people do, Jared? Most of the time, they don't implement in marketing. Exactly, because they're afraid.
Right. It's, you know, and then quite frankly, it's a big step to put yourself out there like that. It really is. Like, even look at this unshaved gloriousness, right? I'm sure there's lots of people out there who have their own feelings about me having this kind of hair on my face, but I'm still out here. I'm still having conversations with people like you or who are different experts in the world and stuff. And that's the reality of it. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it.
Exactly. So again, marketing is you. It's talking about who you are, quote unquote, again, because it's part of you, the company. That's how you see it in your mind. And being, again, and you know this, just to set, I don't think these are numbers, but imagine 100 people get to know you. One might hate you. One might not like you. 1,000 people might see you. Now 10 won't like you. And if you keep scaling, you're going to have more people that don't like you. And most of the times the mind is going to focus on the negative part because it's trying to protect us. So each time there's somebody that doesn't like you, you focus more on who doesn't like you than in the 99 people that do like you. So that's why marketing is so difficult. It's not marketing difficult. It's marketing yourself what is difficult. And a lot of people get stuck. So if you don't have a good self-image about yourself, your business, your brand, your logo could be great, but you getting the word out there, it's where you're going to screw it up. And a lot of people screw it up.
Happens all the time.
Exactly.
People make mistakes everywhere across the board. That's how this group got started to begin with, is because so many people were not doing these things and not following through with some of the simplest things. You know, just like you're saying, when it comes to like brand messaging, if you're insecure about who you are and your image and your perception, you're going to subconsciously tank that copy for that website or for that ad so that it doesn't do as well.
Exactly.
I believe that completely.
Yeah, and that's how it's worked. Because again, look at this. We got limiting, false, and negative beliefs in our subconscious mind. There again, negative, limiting, and false. But the subconscious mind doesn't see it like that. The subconscious mind sees it as the truth, Jared. So what is it trying to do? Protect you, quote unquote, from not confirming those beliefs. So if I feel I'm not good enough, I'm not going to take action, because if I take action, it doesn't work. I completely confirm that I'm a loser. I'm not good enough. So what do? I procrastinate. I stay where I'm at. I don't move forward, because if I move forward and it doesn't go my way, I'm going to confirm that I'm not good enough. So that's the way the subconscious mind protects you, keeping you small, playing it small so that you don't hurt, quote unquote, yourself.
Right.
So if you don't get rid of those false, limiting, and negative beliefs, it's going to be even more difficult to get out there. And again, as we were saying, the numbers in the coaching programs prove this. they're talking some programs between 80 or 90% of the people are failing. And you know why? Again, because the mind is not addressed correctly. And it's not just 3 months that you're going to change the life of a person, you know, forever. And then
Right.
he's going to do great. But they're not addressing even a little bit, or they're just addressing it with positivity, you know, bring here positivity.
But you see, another facet of that problem is that the coach could actually take a step further and curate their audience to basically select those 20% who are going to be engaged and have a 100% return for everybody because they curated their class. But instead, they're focusing on money, so they just let everyone in.
Exactly. There you go. You got it.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. They're not addressing the mindset correctly, and they're getting people in that are not ready for that program. But again,
Right.
they're focusing on. I have had so many people saying, "But Tommy, aren't you scaling? You got to do group sessions." But the work that I do is I got 95% of results when I work one-on-one. If I start going on groups, it starts dropping.
That. Yep.
Exactly. And I don't want to be one of those guys that has 20% of people that are succeeding and 80% are failing.
Right.
Yeah, I can make tons of money, but that's not the idea. I want to help people. I want to pay my bills. I want to, of course, make some money, but it's not fill my pockets by other people's failures, because I am part of that too. What I feel, and this is my point of view, is that if I know that and I'm allowing it, I'm being the bad guy there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm part of the problem. I cannot blame my students saying, "Oh, they're not implementing." They're not implementing because you are missing helping them out to implement.
At that point, that becomes a not necessarily an attention span problem, but you can't clone yourself and replicate yourself across, a group of 1,000, right? So how much time do you have to dedicate to each one of those people realistically? And at that point, that's where, like you just said, that you've decided to work one-on-one as opposed to a group.
I do some group, but I also do the one-on-one together. I do a mixture of both, because that's the way to, if they want a community, we can have the community, yes. But I need to work one-on-one.
Like groups of 10, like small groups?
That's exactly, yes.
Okay.
But again, I still work on the one-on-one, the same group, but I do I do a call where we work group-wise, just to pump them up, talk a little bit, give some insight. But then whatever they're struggling, I can work one-on-one. It makes it much easier, much faster to start changing,
Definitely.
So that's marketing. Let's go to the last one.
Number 3, all right.
Number 3, and this is one of the most difficult one, and like everybody has a solution for this, but most of the solutions are BS.
Well, that's how
sales.
The whole world works.
Sales.
Okay.
What happens in a sale if I show up to a call, Jared, and you don't purchase? You're rejecting me.
Well, that's true. It is a form of rejection, but it depends on how you frame it in your mind.
I know, but most people frame it as a rejection.
That's true. Most people do.
That's why they fail.
Well, I personally frame it for myself as either you're not ready for the next step, or I didn't do a good enough job of explaining the value of the purchase to you.
There you go. That's good. Learning from every call. I love that. But most people getting on a call, so they got the money issue. They kind of work around it as they could. They did some marketing. They get the first person on the phone and the person rejects them. They're done. It's like, this is, and that's why most people, if out there, how many people are doing organic and how many people are spending on ads?
Most people are doing ads.
Exactly. They work on ads because I don't have to expose myself. I can try to get them in a funnel, and from a funnel, get them to buy my product without having to talk to them and getting that rejection.
Also, another piece of that is that the entire SEO process of doing it organically takes a whole lot more work.
Yes, that's true. That's true, of course. Yeah. And again, you get a lot of rejection there too, because you post, maybe you get crickets and you feel bad about yourself. And instead of just trying and keep trying to see what resonates, I posted for like 4 months, Jared, for 4 months when I started, going international and getting more clients worldwide. And not a lot of people I got crickets. I started changing the package. What I teach in the program is the same since I started. Okay. But I had to change the packaging so that people would feel like, oh, I want to know more about this product. And I changed the packaging, the messaging. I didn't change what I deliver.
Right.
So that's another thing. People struggle because I am this, I am my brand. I cannot change my brand. This is me, you know? If I start changing the color, the cover, the messaging, whatever, it's like, oh, this is not me now. But you need to understand that people are going to buy what they want, not what you want or think they want.
Your brand is fluid. It is a ball of Play-Doh that is to be molded into what you need it to be to captivate your customers' attention.
Exactly. Although you think your product is amazing, if you don't have the right wrapping around it, people are not going to buy it.
Right. It's not.
So again,
it's not Christmas time. So it's right now is September. So why would you present a Christmas packaging? It's not even the right time of year for that.
Exactly. So people need to understand that sales is a big one too. And again, if you buy, it goes back to money. Oh, I made some money. It feels good. But if you have limiting beliefs around money, I have a lot of people that I work with, marketing coaches, that they were screwing up the call. They would get people in the pipeline, they would get calls, and they would screw up the call because they didn't want to make money subconsciously.
I'm sure that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So the question of the day is, how do we get past each one of those? Well, I guess the first problem is to identify the problem. So how do I identify
First, we got to recognize that it might be there. Be open-minded and say, okay, I might have this.
Okay, so for each three of these, how do we identify them within ourselves?
So the first thing that I would recommend, it's going to sound weird. Some people say like, oh, that can seem stupid because you see the Disney and you see the ladies, the women journaling, and they're like, oh, journaling? What are you talking about? It's listening to yourself. Journaling is part of, okay, what am I feeling? Connecting to your emotions. People are going to say like, what are you talking about? Connecting to my emotions? No, thank you. You go your way. That's fine if you don't want to do that. But you know what? If you look into high corporate and you look, I got my brother works, he's a member in a big international company, and he's been taught emotional intelligence and self-awareness many, many years ago. Their productivity goes up as they connect with their own emotions and feelings. We are thinking and emotional beings. We're both. We're not just thinking people. We're thinking and emotional. If we don't connect with our emotions, we are doomed. You can repress them as much as you can, but then you got these big shots, as you were talking, people in the music industry, movie industry, and they're suffering because they never connected both. They were just going down their life, getting whatever they wanted, and it never felt good enough. So you need to start connecting with your emotions, understanding what's going on. Okay, I'm sad. I'm sad because I didn't close Jared. I got on a call on Jared, I screwed up the call, and I'm sad. Why am I sad? You got to start asking yourself, try to get to the bottom. And it's not easy because, again, your subconscious mind is trying to protect you. So I tell people, like, I teach you. I got free courses, what I teach, how to do it. I don't care about teaching you. The problem is, I got to be honest, Jared, that it's not an easy path to do because you're so into your own crap that you don't even realize it's crap. You're so used to the smell of crap that it's like, this smells good, And everybody realizes that there's something wrong, but you don't even realize what's going on. So it's not something easy, just so that people understand that it's okay if you feel frustrated because you're not being able to do it. It's part of it, learning how to, So you need to start writing down. So again, let's recap what we said. The action that I'm taking today are not actions: procrastination, overthinking, going toward perfectionism, starting a course. Then no, I'm going to start a program. I'm going to start a product. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I'm all over the place, not doing one thing. Those are all ways your subconscious mind is using to protect you from false, limiting, and negative beliefs. So I have an action or a not action. I'm not doing anything with my business. That comes from a negative emotion. So I got to figure out my negative emotion. So to give an example, this marketing coach that wasn't moving forward, he was procrastinating all day. He had nearly $0 in his bank account. He was procrastinating all day. He knew the strategies. He knew everything that he had to do, tactics, strategy. He knew everything. He'd been doing this for a while, but he had got stuck and he couldn't get a client. He couldn't land one client. We started working and yes, of course. Yeah. We started working and we found that when he was a kid, he had to ask for permission to get money from dad. And the problem was that if it wasn't a very good reason, dad wouldn't give him money. So now he did exactly the same thing with his clients. He would ask, quote unquote, for permission to get paid.
Wow.
So if you're a client and I'm here, hey, Jared, do you think you want to pay me? Or whatever sounds in my voice, you're going to say like, I don't want to work with this guy. This guy doesn't seem he knows what he's doing.
Right. You know? It's a lack of confidence.
Exactly. He had a big lack of confidence. In 3 weeks, he landed $9,000 from 0 to 3 weeks, $9,000. And after that, I think he finished in like $12,000 or $14,000. I don't remember now. And I've seen that a lot. People that are stuck and are not moving forward. And once they start identify negative emotion, they go back into the negative belief. Oh, so I'm scared. I lost Jared. I couldn't close him. So I feel bad about myself. So, okay, so why do I feel bad about myself? Because I'm not good enough or whatever narrative. You got to figure out the narrative you're telling yourself. And then from there comes the change. First, you accept that you feel that because most people reject it. Oh, I'm so stupid. I shouldn't feel like this. I'm good enough. And they start throwing affirmation at them. That doesn't work. First, you need to acknowledge that I feel not good enough.
That might work for a day or two, but long term, it doesn't work at all.
Exactly. So it's not affirmation. Don't get me wrong, guys. Just in case you think, oh, this is affirmation. No, there's a specific process I take people through that is more complex than I'm trying to bring it down so it makes it easier. But it's, first of all, acknowledge, okay, I'm feeling not good enough. Where does this come from? And you got to go back into your past, into your memories to find where your dad or your mom or somebody in your family made you feel not good enough.
Normally and the childhood areas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything comes from our childhood, Jared. That's the weird part, but we got to go back to our past, to our memories. Our memories are in our head. They're movies playing in our head. Like I can take people back and they can start crying from a memory. They can start laughing from a memory. They can start feeling sad, frustrated, angry. Because you know what? It's not that they're feeling that now. That's what is packed back then and it wasn't dealt with. And you need to start dealing with that. If you don't deal with that, you're never going to feel good enough because you cannot change your past by changing your present circumstances.
Right.
That is a very short change that some people go through, but in the long run, it's going to bring more problems.
Definitely. I think people also put a lot of focus on not being able to go back into the past to fix it at that point in time instead of trying to fix it where they're at now.
Most people do that because that's easier, Jared.
If I could just go back in time, everything would be better. Well, you can't do that, so deal with it now.
But you can go into your past memories, and that's what you can change. That's the powerful thing of the mindset that I teach. You can go into your past memories and recreate small parts. So look at this. What we did to this guy. This guy was asking dad for money. So little guy felt he wasn't good enough because dad wouldn't give him money just for giving him money. He would have to ask and have a good reason to ask for money. So we started working with his little self, saying, hey, buddy, if dad is not giving you money, it's dad the problem. It's not because you're not good enough.
Right.
And that's the way how we see the subconscious mind to make it easier to start the reprogramming. Seeing yourself as a younger version and talking to that self of you. Instead of saying affirmations in the mirror, you understanding the narrative when you were a kid and changing that narrative as a kid. That's very powerful because it starts changing yourself today.
What you're talking about is not specifically changing the memory. It's changing the emotion and the framework tied to that memory.
The perception of the memory.
Exactly. Okay.
And the other thing, Jared, that there's a slight change in the memory. That's going to be the weird part. You walk into your own memories and you protect little Jared. So if mom is screaming at little Jared, you're going to step in and tell mom, hey, move away, please. And you're going to treat Jared as he deserves. I know this sounds weird, but it's it
sounds like either it's done through hypnotism or it might be done like like an Inception type of movie type of thing.
You
right?
close your eyes and we can go into your subconscious mind by closing your eyes. I don't need you to put you to sleep or anything. You're 100% aware of what's going on. You're 100% conscious because you are doing the reprogramming, and I guide you, but you do the reprogramming.
Nice. And is that the way that you work that through all three of those issues?
Yeah, exactly. It can be around their company, relationship, whatever you're struggling with. There's always a limiting thoughts and negative belief from your past that was created because something happened. And if you don't treat that and you keep on going forward, trying to change yourself today with affirmations, whatever, positivity, you know, whatever.
Materialistic false things that don't work.
Exactly.
Right.
It's going to happen. And you see it, Jared, the 30-year-old crisis, the 40-year-old crisis, the 50-year-old crisis. You know, there's always a crisis.
Yeah, every year
Why?
is a mid-year crisis. Yeah.
There you go. Why? Because you're not feeling good about yourself, because whatever you achieve on the outside or you didn't achieve, it reminds you, quote unquote, that you're not good enough.
Definitely.
So if you start working on your past like that with your subconscious mind, and again, your memories are in your subconscious mind, and there's something that they're in your mind, so you can recreate a little bit of that. As you recreate, things start changing. As I said, I have a 95% of effective, like of result with positive result with people I work with. They start seeing changes along the way.
It's almost
because
like
you change your past.
It's almost like
Yes,
rewiring your brain.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
I actually spent most of my life not reading books, and it wasn't because I don't like reading. Like, that's the thing that I've been telling myself my whole life. But actually,
yes.
Right, and I actually knew what the problem was. I just never knew what the solution was. And so the problem is that my mother and I used to read together when I was 6, and she passed away. And so since then, I've been rejecting it my whole life. But I actually came across a book last year in November that was just, it looked so amazing. Like, I have to read this. And as soon as I did, I haven't stopped reading since. I've read every day since November because of that one book put me past it. And it wasn't until I actually started reading more that I actually started dealing with that internally.
There you go.
I was listening to a podcast, and this guy's like, yeah, I read a book a week. And I'm like, no, there's no way. This guy's lying. You know, there's no way, right? And then that same week, I read, The Hunger Games.
Yes.
I read their first book in 3 days, and I was like, holy crap. That's how that works. Okay.
Yep.
And so through all of that, and that, I guess that perseverance to keep doing it forced me to deal with the situations.
There you go. Exactly. But you had to deal with that, as you said it.
Right. Now, since then, I've been promoting reading to everyone who will listen.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's a crazy shift on what happens in your brain when you take that actual step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The brain works like seriously nearly mathematical. Like, it's very easy to understand how the brain works when you understand all of this as we're talking. So if you went through a difficult situation when you were a kid, you didn't want to read. So if you went through a difficult situation with money, you don't want to make money. It's that simple. You say, I wanna read, I want to make money, but it doesn't happen.
But see, there's also another underlying factor in there as well that I'm not sure if you're addressing because of the audience or because of time. And I think that's the actual internal desire to overcome that. So January 1st hits, and how many millions of people say, I want to lose weight, right? How many people actually go through with it? A very, very small percentage, because it's not about the lip service. You could say it all day. You could think it. You could think that you want to feel it, but until you actually feel it and you have that internal desire to actually make the change, that little switch that happens in your brain, it's like a train track when they switch tracks.
Yes.
Right. It's like a switch, and then they switch to different tracks. It's really like that in your brain.
Yeah.
To where things just all of a sudden click.
Yeah.
And just wheels start turning again.
Yeah. we got to be very careful, because some people change from food and they fall into another addiction. It could be media, it could be Netflix, it could be whatever. So the idea would be to find the root cause of what they're covering up with the food. Food normally and other things could be Facebook, it could be the cell phone. We use it as a way to disconnect from our emotions, our negative emotions. So it makes it much easier to change whatever you want to change, cigarette, alcohol, whatever you're dealing with. If you start connecting with your emotions, start understanding why you're falling into food to cover up the inner pain.
It definitely makes sense to me.
Because you can train the track and you can start getting slimmer, but then you start, I don't know, smoking, or you start watching a lot of TV, or you start watching your phone every day, or I don't know, you're losing a lot of time doing other things.
Maybe
so you change
start
from
taking
one addiction to another.
injections.
There you go. You change from one addiction to another. And I talk to people, even meditation can be an addiction. If you are using something, whatever it is, meditation, music, whatever, Jared, not to feel bad, that's an addiction. Like, hey, I'm going to go meditate because I'm angry and I want to, relax a little bit. That's a way of disconnecting from your feeling. Because if I sit and meditate and I connect with my anger, that's good. But if I use meditation to kind of push away my anger, that's not good, because the anger is still inside of me. I didn't deal with it. Does you see the difference there?
I do see the difference.
Because I see a lot of people that go to the gym, they go run, they meditate, they have a healthy life, but they don't have a healthy mental state. Because why? They're changing one addiction for the other. And badly seen addiction from the people into a good seen addiction. He goes to the gym every day.
Right.
Okay. We should check why he goes every day to post pictures of him or her on Facebook and get lots of likes. There you go. You see?
That right.
We're looking for recognition.
Right. That's actually been scientifically proven to get those likes on social media. It's like a euphoria thing that happens in the brain.
Exactly. Yep.
And then people start transitioning that euphoria from something as simple as just an interaction as they start how do they perceive it? They misrepresent those actions and those engagements on social media as like an internal love, so to speak.
Exactly. Yes.
And that
builds
that's what actually turns that into the actual addiction. It's because people perceive it subliminally as they're being loved by the people.
Exactly.
Right.
Sales, Jared. Let's go back to sales. If I sell, people like me. People love me. I feel good about myself. If I don't make sales, I feel bummed. I feel bad. Mm-hmm. It's another way of love. Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely get it. I actually had a question real quick from you.
Yeah.
About the sales side, actually. For people who are not yet at that stage where they're ready to deal with their emotions and still looking to find ways to push forward and kind of, I guess, force their way through it, so to speak, until that emotional side starts kicking in. One of the things I was thinking of earlier was, would some type of an after action review type of thing help people with their sales? So, and what I mean by that, that's a pretty big thing that happens in the military is after each evolution or each exercise, we'll go back and review everything that happened. And so is that another way, instead of maybe journaling every night for 12 hours or whatnot, just kind of
but that's the thing. It's not journaling so many hours. You can just, you just lost a sale, you just start writing. I feel bad, I feel angry, I'm scared, or you start writing a couple of words. It doesn't mean you got to write a book. It's just writing a couple of words to start acknowledging your feelings. That's the idea. And start asking yourself, why do I feel angry? Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel bad? Whatever you're feeling. Okay. But reviewing whatever happened, going back to the call and say, okay, what happened? What did I say? What could I change? And connect with your emotion again. The idea is developing self-awareness, Jared. That's the key. And again, they're using this in the corporate world. High in the ladder of the corporate world, they're using self-awareness and emotional intelligence, to improve efficiency, to improve relationships, to improve everything in a company, so a company can make more money. So why is it not something that we are using, you know, in every aspect of our life too? We need to start connecting with our emotion. That's going to start bringing you forward, because as you connect with emotion, you're going to be, as you said, I realize I don't want to read because it reminds me of my mom. So I'm sad. I haven't processed the sadness that I felt that my mom passed away. To give you an example, okay?
Right.
I haven't processed that. So I feel sad. So I don't want to read a book because I don't want to feel sad. Another person could say, look at this. And this is a perception. Another person could say, I love reading because I used to read with my mom. And when she passed away, it keeps reminding her of her.
Right.
That's another perception. So
Right.
every person that lives a circumstance, he's going to see it with his own eyes and mind and create a narrative out of that. And the idea is for each person to be able to get to that narrative and change it, because it's that negative narrative that's getting you stuck in any aspect of your life. Now we're talking about entrepreneur, but in any aspect, with a diet, with food, exactly, with relationship, with love, with growing in the 9-to-5 business, getting a raise, getting another, you know, whatever. It's all about the narratives.
The internal narratives.
Exactly.
Yes.
The internal narratives.
I just want to make sure that that's clear. Just
okay.
Case.
Yes. Yes. Internal
There's a lot
narratives.
of political crap happening these days.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yes, the internal narrative in your mind.
So whatever somebody is telling you and bothers you, that's the narrative, similar narrative you're telling yourself.
Right. And so it sounds like whenever that happens, we need to basically pause whatever's happening, take a step back, and really look at the situation.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yep. Move away from the situation and start understanding what's going on in my inner world. Because that's the most important. I cannot change you, Jared, but I can change myself. So I can use any fight if we have or different opinion or whatever. Say, okay, why did this bother me? What does this make me feel about myself? What is Jared making me feel like? Like a lot of people blame the other. Like, you're making me feel that I'm a bad person. You're making me feel I'm useless. You're making me feel worthless. No, you are making yourself feel worthless with what I'm saying. It could be true that I'm making you, like I'm doing that, saying something that might make you feel that. But again, you choose to feel like that, not me.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely been an awesome call here. I'm sure a lot of people will definitely get a lot from this. Learning about the mindset and how you can use that to improve yourself in your life, not only your business, but your personal life is where this matters the most, I presume. Because if you can master that, you can master anything.
Exactly.
Sure a lot of people are going to get quite a bit out of this. So, Tommy, I definitely thank you for coming on today. It's been an awesome call. And so,
thank you, Jared.
Where can people find you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, they can go on Facebook and put Tommy Walker, the Mind Engineer. That's one of the things. Or if not, they can go into the website that I have, unleashingyourmindset.com. Unleashingyourmindset.com. That's my website too. You can find some information there. I got some free courses there to start getting deeper the entrepreneur mindset, or just for your life or for your business. I got different free trainings there that they can go deeper with what we talked about. Okay, so they can just find me there and reach out if they need to. Okay.
Outstanding. Definitely love it, man. Well, hey, Tommy, thanks for the time. I'm sure we'll be in touch in the future so we can get a follow-up sometime down the road.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jared. It was great. Lots of fun.
Take care. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. You too. Bye.